Hi, I'm Clay Daniel. I'm the director of LSAT Prep for Claiborne Education. I've been working with the LSAT for over 15 years, dissecting it, taking it apart. I want to talk to you about a particular aspect of the reading section. LSAT reading has two major challenges, right? First, reading the passage to get what you need in a reasonable amount of time, and then secondly, dealing with the various question types. I want to talk about the second part and a universal tip that will help you think about all of the questions really in a different and more helpful way. I find that if there's one thing students can do to immediately improve their score on LSAT reading, it's this. Look out and embrace modesty in your answers. That's maybe an odd way to say that concept. What I mean is a modest answer is an answer that is appropriately qualified and avoids being too extreme. Now, there are kinds of questions on the LSAT, especially in the logical reasoning section, where we actually want a very strong, bold, absolute answer, like always, never, only, words like that. But the great thing about reading is that there are very few exceptions to this rule favoring a more modest answer instead. Here's why that is. Think about the main question types on reading. Probably the single most frequent question type is the inference question. They ask you that more than anything else. You've got detail questions. Then there are big picture questions, right? Main idea or the author's purpose. And then purpose or function, but in a smaller sense. Like, what's the purpose of the third paragraph, for example? Those are the major question types on LSAT reading. And what they all have in common is that wrong answers will typically overstate something in the passage. They'll either say always when it's only true often or most of the time or some of the time, or they'll get too specific in some important way. So you want to look out for that kind of language where the answer starts out, well, it seems to be describing the passage, or it seems to be latching onto a detail in the passage. But then at a particular place, sometimes just one word like only, it goes wrong. Or by getting just a little bit too specific, it actually distorts what's happening in the passage. So what I tell students is, especially when you have it down to two choices, which is that nauseatingly common experience on the LSAT, right? I feel like I always have it down to two and I choose the wrong one. When you have it down to those two, especially when you're clear that the three you've eliminated are irrelevant, they miss the mark very clearly, but you're wrestling between those two, there is very often a difference in the language of those two. Choose the more modest answer. Choose the answer that says can or may or tends to or sometimes. 90% of the time, that's going to be the better answer of the two. This is an excellent reading tip that works an overwhelming amount of the time for reasons that are not just gimmicky, but are actually tied to understanding what it takes to make and support true statements when you're making any kind of argument. These are the kind of tips that we talk about all the time with our students, helping them unpack not only LSAT reading, but the logical reasoning and logic game sections as well. So if you need help attacking the LSAT, if you can't seem to quite break through to where you want to be, come talk to us more and we'll help you crack that code, unlock that puzzle, and take away the hurdle that the LSAT feels like and replace that with a successful result. We'd love to talk to you.